You're live?
Welcome to the Thursday show. My name is Paul, your host. I'm joined by Adam Camilleri
Evening, everybody. Welcome.
and Dustin Henshaw.
Good evening, everybody.
If you couldn't guess by the title, this is a show we do on Thursday here on the Frontline Gaming Network. And if you're watching us streaming into the competitive Warhammer 40,000 Facebook chat, please throw some stuff in the comments because we're going to be talking about tournaments, the stuff that everyone's focused on. And we're going to be circling the globe with tournaments this week, talking about tournaments in New York, China, and the Netherlands. How awesome is that?
Yeah, it's pretty good. We're trying to do something a little bit different this week. Usually we're just shackled to the biggest events nonstop, and we're doing that for the last 6 weeks, just whichever the biggest event is, especially we've had a lot of super majors lately. So we decided to break from the mold a little bit and give some of the little events a little bit more love.
So we're going to talk about the DaBoyz GT, the Shanghai Autumn Apocalypse, and the Feast of Blade WTC singles.
Yeah, so it's an interesting couple of events. The two smaller events we're doing, the one in Shanghai and one in the Netherlands, they've both got really interesting metas. Like, straight up, I'll tell you, I broke down in one sentence each of the lists at the Shanghai event, and their lists are no joke. You expect them, sometimes you see a little event, you're like, they've got their own little meta. Maybe they're not as, finger on the pulse as what's great internationally. These guys are. These lists, these gals and girls are no joke. They are full-blooded savages.
It's actually fun to see all these different metas out in the rest of the world that are not that different.
Yeah, it's almost like as soon as we started playing the same mission pack, everything just kind of got a lot closer. I think that's one of the great things 8th edition did for the game. It really brought a lot of us in line, and then when the 9th edition we all playing the same rules, it really just kind of locked us all into kind of the same kind of things are good everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I really loved about the 9th edition, just because it's now a universal rule set that everybody's using across the world. It's going to make the meta pretty similar. So you could go to like a tournament in Shanghai or Netherlands, probably get your butt kicked, but you're gonna at least recognize the meta that you're in.
Well, folks recognize what power is, and it also gives you a good idea of what you got to take to beat. So we're going to be going down some lists that both, of course, what we think are the top list and some of the top ranked players in attendance at these events, what they're bringing, maybe why they're bringing it. But then we're going to be talking about like what could topple them if they are taking one of the traditionally powerful lists. And yeah, we got some folks in the chat asking is like which events are adopting the new balance changes, and I think they all should. But
we talked about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that as we go going through the course of the events.
It's so hard to quantify. You kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't. So you kind of like I always lean on the side of like, so you are damned if you damned if you don't. So you just go with it. You just go with the new thing because you don't want to make your event invalid like the week after. Some people are doing a bit half and like picking and choosing because I just don't want to. People are paying money and jumping on flights, and it could be a couple $100 out of pocket for a bad feels event. Of course, as a TO, you never want that to be a thing. But at the same time,
it's not an enviable position. Look, and it's easy for me to make a call from this chair right here as just someone talking about it. But I think that once these changes were put in place, balanced for fun for both players at the table, you try to implement them as soon as possible, as soon as feasible for you. But really what it does, it changes what the top is. And if there is a top, something's going to be there. There's going to be things vying for the top. It changes the dynamic of play. So that's what. We'll see it play out in some of these lists, I think.
One of the beautiful things about doing what we do is that we don't even need to know if they've done it. Sometimes the data just tells us. So what I've seen from the data of DaBoyz leads me to believe that they are. They've got it in its entirety. They've adopted all, and I could absolutely be wrong on that, but that's what the data would lead me to believe. Do you want to jump in and talk about that one, Paul?
Let's do it. Yeah, let's go down the faction. Now, look, DaBoyz. Some folks have been naughty. What we like on this show is when people list their factions and we can go down the factions and we can do it. So look, if you got a tournament out there, you're running one, encourage people to do it. Maybe not just for yourself, although it does help you, but for us, think of us.
Yeah. So
help you.
I do the faction breakdowns, the quick and dirty stats, as we say, for these things, and it really irks me when like a big percentage of a large event don't list their faction. 31 players of the 84 in attendance at DaBoyz did not list their faction, and as such, I've now created the Adam's dishonorable faction breakdown for your viewing pleasure.
So in the chat, before we get into that, we got William Shishi, is saying that they're in Shanghai and they have an interesting meta. We're going to talk about it. And then Tricolo says DaBoyz is not using the new rules.
Interesting.
Really?
So yeah, then I'm misinformed by the data, and we'll discuss it. So the dishonorable faction breakdown. So I went and I was so irked by 31 people not listing their faction. I looked at every damn list to see what they were, and here's the breakdown. So every person listed on this, the factions listed on this, are people who did not list their faction when submitting their list to BCP. 5 Sisters players, 1 Custodians, 1 Admech, 2 Grey Knights, 1 Titans. That is a dude bring a single Warhound Titan to this event, and that is
much love.
hilarious. Well, he didn't put maybe you can't list Warhound Titan as a selection on BCP, so I'll let that gentleman gets a pass. But I noted it because it's hilarious.
We'll log a ticket with him. Get Warhound Titans officially.
One Blood Angels, one Ultras, 0 Chaos. Well done, Chaos players. You are the champions of DaBoyz.
How does it feel, Chaos?
The most dishonorable in fluff faction, the most honorable players on the table. Thank you. 1 Orc player, 2 Tyranids. Dustin, what's wrong? Talk to him. Get your bugs in line.
Just the nids. They don't want people to know that they're playing the new nids.
4 Drakari and 1 Harlequins. So dishonorable faction podium for those at home. 5 Sister players, 4 Drakari players. No surprise there. And Nids and Grey Knights 2 apiece, and then singles for the rest. Hopefully you guys have found this as fun as I did, because I had a little chuckle putting this together. I'm like, take this, and it was a good time.
Be better if you got the names for them. I think you can get everybody's name in there too. Just call them all out.
Well, we're getting close to the holidays. We've got a naughty and nice list.
But now that you started this, that means you're gonna have to keep doing it. I'm like, that's.
I know. Well, if there's, I reckon I put a cap on. If a third of an event doesn't have it listed, I'll do it. Like if a third of an event that's hit major status, and I'll be like, yeah, you guys should know better. You should know better. I'm going to make sure you guys do.
Someone in chat is one of the orc players, apparently.
Oh, really? Yeah, you know what you did.
You know,
you cost me 2 minutes of my life. I want the back.
Hey, that's what we do this for. Hey, and if you're listening live, if you're listening later, we actually do this live on Thursdays. So if you are listening on one of the podcast aggregators, please make sure that you give us a 5-star review, share it around, thumbs up, all that kind of stuff. We really appreciate it. Leave comments after the fact. We also check those too.
Beautiful.
And you can actually see Adam in his glorious tank tops that he wears.
Missed the memo again. Apparently,
crusading in my tank top for the Emperor. Right, yeah, I love this. But onto the actual quick and dirties, guys. So this will be the amalgamation of everyone. As soon as I did the stats for the dishonorables, I just added them to the rest. It's actually a pretty interesting meta, the event, with Sisters coming in at the top with 8 lists. So the Imperial Super Faction, 8 Sisters, 3 Custodies, 4 Admech, 0 Guard, 5 Grey Knights, 5 Imperial Knights, and like I said, the 1 Titan list. Now the 5 Imperial Knights is the reason I thought they might be adapting it. They might be taking on the FAQ because usually we see 1 or 2 for an 84 player event.
We saw a lot of Knights last week too. We were actually pegging it on what we thought might be like a terrain choice. People have some knowledge maybe what the actual ground looked like.
Exactly right. But yeah, those 5 Knight players that are being literally more than double what we usually see led me to believe that, hey, they might be just jumping 2 feet into this FAQ. 26 total Imperial Super Factions lists onto the Space Marines. This is the most sparsely represented Space Marine Super Faction I've seen in a long time. 2 Blood Angels, 3 Ultras, 2 Iron Hands, 1 White Scar, 1 Black Templar. That is half of what you'd expect from another GT or major of this size.
Seriously interesting here. No Space Wolves.
Zero Space Wolves
on the rise.
So the 2 big notable absences here is 0 Space Wolves, 0 Dark Angels, and I think that's the first time we've seen a donut for either of those in a very long time.
Very true. I was going to make a comment about how no one plays Dark Angels anyway.
Nobody anyway, right?
But we know that's not true, and you are right. There's a notable exception because those, they score points. They do really well in tournaments. But maybe that's it. What we see is from Dark Angels is that they're kind of coming in second, third place. They're not really taking the top spot in a lot of places, and maybe the Dark Angels players in there just got tired of second place and they're swinging for the fences with another faction.
Legitimately right. Like Dark Angels is one of the best, well, probably the most solid. Them and Death Guard are probably the most solid 3 and 2 factions going at the moment. Like the most reliable into every meta, every terrain set, doesn't matter. And then they're very solid 4 and 1s, but they're very, very rare 5 and 0s and almost no 6 and 0s. Legitimately. So yeah,
well, that's
maybe people just getting bored of it
too. Well, yeah, it's getting bored of it too. Like, and a lot of them, they don't win a lot of their games. They'll lose a lot of the games, but they're high losses. Like, I actually went to a tournament recently where there was a Dark Angel player that went 0-5, but had the most battle points in the entire tournament.
That's
losing
outrageous.
with 85s and 90s every game.
Yeah,
that
exactly
is crazy.
Right.
I would beg for 85 points in a game sometimes,
right? But he's still losing those games. That's crazy. They're just such great scorers, but if they can't get that extra little jump, it's kind of like Harlequins. They're not the best team list, but they're so good at just squeaking out that win with their tricks.
Yeah, exactly right. Onto the Chaos Super Faction, 2 Chaos Soup, 2 Chaos Space Marines, 3 T-Suns, that's actually a little bit under for T-Suns, 7 Death Guard, and a single Demons for a total of 15 lists in representation. I can tell you now, Death Guard is the second most highly represented list under Sisters, which is holding true for them. Like, they make the faction podium for just about every damn event that we do, and they're holding strong. And it's interesting to see that they're holding strong and Dark Angels is falling off, because you'd almost think they're doing the same thing but for 2 different super factions.
That is interesting. I wonder if it's easier for the Dark Angels to pivot into other things. Like, do you know if there are any Marine lists that happen to have Dark Angels just as a?
I do not, but I do know that you can play your Dark Angels as literally any other freaking Space Marine faction. But you can your Death Guard,
You
definitely
cannot.
Oh, they're renegades. Ooh, and they're like, no, they're Death Guard.
One of the Dark Angels might be the Titan too.
I think
the Death Guard players, I know we talk about them a lot because I do like the faction, but we mention them a lot in commentary. But I think they're right there on the precipice of just a few army list changes. Same with Thousand Suns to really break out and start to claim some of these top prizes.
Dude, you're absolutely right. Legitimately, the nerfs that we saw to Drakari and Admech are actually a backhanded buff to so many upper middle factions, and Death Guard being one of those. If they took some points reductions in chapter approved, they'd get a whole new playbook added in there. It'd be really exciting. Onto the Xeno super faction, we've got 3 Necrons, 4 Orcs, 0 Tau for a total of 7. Even the Orcs is a little bit less than we'd usually see. You'd usually see them more pushing the 7, pushing the 8. Onto the Hive Mind though, 0 Hive Mind, 4 Tyranids, 0 GSC. I'm assuming that is literally because the new supplement, the Leviathan supplement's been engaged with all its goodness, and people are just like, well, I could play Hive Mind or GSC, or I could just play NIDS. And so for the time being, I think all the Hive Mind people are just going to play NIDS for a little bit.
Yeah, great. I know. Give me these other big bugs, get them on the table, use these cool new rules. And look, every Tyranid player I've spoken to since it has come out has been very appreciative of those rules.
Yeah, Dustin, feel free to rebuke everything I just said.
No. You're absolutely right. Because the other thing is too, all the GSC players, and this is actually me speaking from being a GSC player, we know a Codex is coming. We know it's coming, and we know Tyranids are already good. So we might actually be at the point that we might not even need NIDS in our list anymore. Not even need to ally with them. So let's just bring out our big bugs, have some fun with them before the real juice comes.
And that's a huge point. There's no real point developing or trying to really deep dive into GSC with such a new book on the podium.
Painting up 2 or 3 more units when you know something's right on the edge.
Yeah, exactly.
Tread water, play what's ever going to be fun now, and be ready to go when it hits. Lastly, we have the Eldari super faction, 2 mixed Eldari, 6 Drakari, 1 Harlequins, 0 Craft World for a total of 9 lists. Like I said, that faction podium reads Sisters with 8 lists, Death Guard with 7, Drakari with 6, and an honorable mention to Knights coming in fourth, equal fourth with, I think, Grey Knights with 5 lists.
Wow.
Interesting meta here. Good spread. But once again, it's interesting to see whatever you guys call the upper right section of the states, the Pacific North, Western Hemisphere South,
that
whatever
is not it is. Pacific.
I know it's the opposite. I said that as Atlantic, whatever.
It's the Northeast.
Yeah. It seems to be heavy sisters, really heavy sisters.
I wonder if that's been historically the case, and then also let's diagnose why sisters aren't taking more of the top spots.
Well, dude, if you want to talk about a faction that just got a backhanded buff, Orcs and Admech and Drakari all just teched into they just had to adjust slightly, and they slapped sisters into the dirt. And now with 2 of those lists got 300 less points, and one of those lists almost doesn't exist in its what it is last archetype. Dude, you're absolutely right. Sisters could just have a rocket pack on them now. It could be going straight to A plus S tier. But you're right. They really struggled to just catch that 5th win, so to speak, in the GTs.
There's so many options, I think, with the Adeptus Sororitas that I think if you're planning on one thing and then the rounds don't stack up the way that you think that they're going to do, you could easily run into what is a brick wall for yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe. Is it possible to take a true all-comers list with the sisters?
I think it is. The only thing that I think hurts them the most is I think that all-comers lists look very different depending on what terrain subset you're using. They're one of the ones that really changes. Sisters having cover and not having cover is one of the biggest break points for that faction. Especially with things like
my Sanctum or whatever it is.
Sure.
Well, I'm really hoping a couple of their really cool units, like what are the battle nuns?
All
what
of
are they
them?
called? No, the ones in the suits, the nuns.
Oh,
I'm really hoping chapter approved is kind to them, and we see them on the table because they're an excellent.
They start with
choice.
a P.
Yeah, I got no idea. Paragon Warsuit. Damn,
That's
bam.
Yeah.
If they went down
Teamwork.
10, 15, 20 points, you'd see them and they'd be solid.
I think they're good. I think they are good now. But again, you're right. I don't know if they make it in their current state into the take all comers list because you need all these things to trade off, which they can do. You know, but I think that's it. You know, what do they need? They need a couple more rhinos in there. They need, maybe,
well,
who knows? We'll see. I think that they're not doing as well as they possibly could or should be doing.
I just think with the pivots that I see Drukhari, people are already talking about Drukhari going into a more chunky Covens-based build. Already we're seeing people probably dropping off the all-comers, what we've been used to, all-comers AdMech build, where they just got to be the best at everything. They were the fastest, they shot the best, they fought the best. Now they're going to have to actually make some choices. Maybe Sisters is now one of the best MSU armies in the game because they can have almost as much stuff as Drukhari used to do. It wasn't as good point for point, but they can have almost as much stuff. So who knows? Maybe they're the new Ultra MSU archetype. Hanging up there possibly with Drukhari on even playing fields now.
Oh, they do have a lot of point parity with Drukhari.
They do now. Yeah, I think they absolutely do. Top players in attendance for this one. There's only one player in the top 20 in attendance to this. So I think we can safely say we might know who might make a podium here. But Brad Chester, #1 in the US and also #1 in the world. He's jumped off Drukhari. And this is the biggest reason I thought they were adopting the FAQ. Brad Chester, who's won everything he's been to this year or podiumed with Drukhari, he's taking Grey Knights, guys. What do you think?
Has he maxed out his events for the ITC rankings?
If he hasn't, what's he got to do? What's he got to do? Yeah.
Well, I'm saying that's my question.
Yes,
but that's
he's maxed.
But that's a legitimate thing because if he hasn't maxed out, he might just be taking some stuff to have a palate cleanse before LVO, before he has to sit back into the grind. So you might be spot on there. It's a good call.
That's a good point. I actually spoke to Brad at the Center Starling for a while too, and we discussed this too. He was actually going to be moving off of Drukhari long before he knew about these things as well. There was a couple matchups that were just too big of a toss up for him in the Drukhari matchup that he didn't feel too confident in, and he likes the Grey Knight playstyle. He feels like I can actually do better into what the meta is now. And now with everything that's happened now, almost like he might have had a crystal ball or might be part of that testing team, but knows that GK they're in a good spot right now, like a really good spot.
Let's talk about that list.
He's just kind of, I'm assuming he's in theorycraft mode. He's just going to play the things he's scared of and just unpack them for the next couple of weeks, which would be very
I don't know how much theorycraft you have to do to divine this list, but
I know. So
I've never seen it before. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a Prescient Brethren Patrol and a Rapier's Patrol as well. Starts with a Techie, Grandmaster Dread Knight, unit of Strikes, 2 units of Servitors, 10 Interceptors, 2 Dread Knights, then his next attachment, another Grandmaster in Dread Knight, another unit of Strikes, a unit of Purifiers, which I absolutely love, and 2 more units of 10 Interceptors. So that is your 4, it's 4 Dread Knights, 30 Interceptors, little bits and pieces. I love the addition of the Servitors, and I adore having the Purifiers in there. What do you guys
I love this list, by the way. I certainly don't want to make it sound like I'm knocking it. I think it's an awesome list and has many tools. And really the only question is, do you go with that 5th Dread Knight? I think you can make a case for the Interceptors to replace that Dread Knight.
Yeah. Well,
he's places at once, essentially.
He's essentially done that. Some people do manage to go run really lean on the rest of their army and just go 3 to 4 Dread Knights, 30 Interceptors. But usually that 5th Dread Knight costs you quite a bit of board presence. And if you run into an opponent who's good against a Dread Knight, well, you've just taken more stuff for them to pick up. Well, I really like the addition of the Purifiers. I think they add a little bit of jank that people might not see coming in this list. In addition to that, it's just got all the good elements. It's just got all the good stuff. How can you go wrong?
Yep.
And this is definitely good for the endurance on your back moving around.
Yeah. Sorry, Dustin. What do you think? Have you played against this kind of list before? And what are your thoughts? How do you come at it if you're the opponent?
I'm absolutely familiar with this list. I played against it a lot, and I'm not a huge fan of the 5 Dread. I think 5 is too many. I think 5 is too many. I think 3 to 4 is the juicy number. The Interceptors are just so fast. They're so good at what they do, and you're going to combat squad them almost every game unless you really need grind for some reason. You're going to be combat squadding. You want the MSU to do what you need to do. And the Purifiers, like you said, they had that jank and a little bit of extra the tricks in there. I don't think that people realize how much damage the Purifiers can actually put out right now. Even just one small squad, they do damage. And the secondaries that it gives them access to is just because they have so many infantry, so many psychers, their purifying ritual is one of the best secondaries you can take. It is so good.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, unless you're playing a mirror match or into T-Suns, purifying ritual is the best secondary in the game as it sits right now.
That's the only reason I didn't say it was the best is because of the mirror match.
Because of the mirror. Yeah, exactly.
That's the
right.
only reason I said.
Because you'll just turn each other off, and like one of you will roll bad, one of you will roll good. That guy gets a 10, you get a 3, and like, that felt shit.
Well, we saw. Was it David Oswald win the Crucible a couple weeks ago with purifiers in his list, and that was the only difference between that and the other Grey Knights that we saw at that event, and probably events like it. Purifiers have been on the shelf for a lot of people.
They have. They really
have.
It
makes sense, dude, to add them back in there. Because a lot of the time, a lot of people will have like a Rhino or two in here, which makes sense in the meta where it used to be with all the planes flying around and all of the orc buggies that are going to shoot you out of line of sight, because they can start thrashing these infantry that are on the table right now. But with a lot of that stuff going to the wayside, you don't really worry about it as much.
It's true. It's really true.
Just put the points in. Why put them in a box when they just stand on the table and not care anyway?
Exactly right. We have one more list I want to unpack from DaBoyz, and pretty much I was just looking down the list because I wanted to point out one more list, and I saw a gentleman's name. It's a gentleman who is building quite a legend. Well, I am building his legend right here, right now. This gentleman's name is Dante Thunderdome. Is that right?
Thunderstone.
Thunderdome? Oh my god, that was even better.
I got Mad Max in my head.
His name,
Mad Max 3. I did. That's the only way his name could be improved at all. Dante
I don't know, man. It's pretty solid as is.
Holy crap. Could you imagine what your life would be like? Your teacher standing up being like, is Dante Thunderstone here? All the kids would look back and be like, oh my god, is he an anime character? Does he have wild hair? Like,
no, you're gonna have like AC/DC coming in.
Yeah. He's actually playing a really cool list as well. He's playing a single battalion of Emperor's Children, Dark Apostle, Sorcerer, 3 into 10 Noise Marines, 3 Volkite Contemptors, and 3 Termites. He's going to have 6 drops, and he's just going to be like, it's my army, buddy. That is literally the kind of list I would expect Dante Thunderstone to run, because, yeah, a man amongst men. That's it.
I like the 310 Norse Marines. Look, we're a big fan of Noise Marines on the show as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Are they? And then 3 Volkite Contemptors. Like, this is a brutal, bestial list.
If it goes first, it can mess up anybody. Anybody can get bad touched by this. Dude, I was thinking about like some lists that are just going to... People are talking about how Nids might be a really big player again and be really fearsome. And I was just like, yeah.
Like a large model player or...
Sorry, no. As in like things like Devil Gaunts, things like Gene Stealers.
I know, I was being silly.
Yeah, I know. But dude, Noise Marines, Chaos Bikers who are Emperor's Children, who can redeploy, double shoot, all those things, just get in an angle and destroy them before you get to use them. That feels like a good counter, and it feels like Chaos Space Marines have one of the better options into that game, into that play style. But we will see. Just because they've got good anti-infantry, they've still got great anti-infantry opportunities. Wait a minute.
That's not 2,000 points.
Maybe it's not, but that's what was on his list.
That's not. Is he actually going under points? There's no way that's 2,000 points.
The termites are pretty expensive. You got me questioning it now. I'm gonna have to look. Maybe Dante is just too much of a man. He's just like
he's too much of a man. He doesn't need 2,000 points.
2,000 points is for the plebs. I'll play.
Summoning. There has to be another HQ or something in there.
Summon? Can you summon? Can you do that?
Yeah, you can summon. Yeah, the Sork and the Apostle can definitely summon. If that
got
could be
1,000 points of summoning.
1,000 points of summoning, man.
Termites are pretty expensive though, boys, aren't they?
Termites, what are they, 160, 180 or something like that?
Yeah, that's not that.
4 Melta-shots. It's up there.
You guys, all right, so next up, I'll look that up in a moment, but we're going to talk about Shanghai.
I'll check it out. You run that down, I'll be looking up termites.
Someone grab the comment about the books.
So William Shihai. Apologies. China's G-Dub is renegotiating its license, so we haven't had any printed books on their own since Sisters or so, unless players have got them in the mail from other countries. That's very interesting. So what would that lead you to believe, Dustin?
I'm actually trying to unpack that.
Yeah, that's actually...
Old meta lists.
It's they're in a different meta.
Either that or they're fully reliant on copying international lists. You'd almost see it going one or two ways. Either everybody is tracking everything overseas and adopting it, or it's like a closed border style. We're just going to play with what we've got. Because there'd be a lot of impetus to try and keep your finger on the pulse when you don't have access to the books.
Yeah, Yeah, actually, man, that's actually makes it really interesting then. I didn't
180
realize
points
that.
on this termites, by the way.
Yeah, they're 190. And he's got sorry,
180.
Dante. His ones are 190 listed here with 2 twin Vulcan.
Oh, he gave an upgrade
Yeah.
or something. But,
Ooh.
So yeah, Dark Apostle, Sork, 3 units of 10 Noise Marines with blasters, Doom Siren on the Sarges, 3 Chaos Contemptors with Cyclones and the 2 Volkites, and then the 3 Termites. And yeah, that's 1995 apparently.
there you go. Gone with a lot of toys.
There you go.
I mean, the Noise Marines are very expensive. They do a lot. They make the most out of that 1 wound they possibly can.
They make it matter. And they make a lot out of shooting back on death as well.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. All right. So let's jump into Shanghai Autumn Apocalypse. This is a lovely 16-player 5-round event, and we love being able. Well, exactly right.
5 rounds.
Being able to, spot on. It's going to be good. They're going to have a good time, and almost everybody's going to play. You're going to play like a third of the event each. But what we love about this show, and one of the great things we get to do, is shine a spotlight on obscure metas, places that people would never have thought there's a scene, and really give them some time of day. And so when we can do that, we love doing it. This breakdown for you guys, though. Imperial Super Faction, man, no one plays Imperial in there. 1 Custodes, 1 Grey Knight. That's it. Done. Space Marines, 1 Raven Guard, 1 Ultras, 1 Iron Hands, 3 lists. Chaos Super Faction, 1 Mixed Chaos, 1 T-Suns, 1 Death Guard for a total of 3. Xenos is 2 Necrons, 2 Orcs, 1 Tau. So Xenos Super Faction is like double everybody else already. 0 Hive Mind. I don't know. They just don't like bugs there. It's just not a thing. But it's not that surprising, only 16 players. And lastly, all the Eldari players are 3 Drukhari. And so our faction podium sits 3 Drukhari, 2 for Orcs and Krons, and everybody else has got 1.
That's a pretty nice spread.
It's actually not bad, yeah. It's actually not bad. But it's what you'd expect, right?
Yep.
You expect Drukhari to be pretty much around the top of most podiums, and then Orcs to be one of, especially if you're not adopting the FAQ. And so the rest being singles is not really that much to unpack there. But some of the emissions are fun. Like it's fun to see the Space Marine factions they've chosen. No Blood Angels, no Space Wolves, no Dark Angels. 0.
There's people playing what they want, man.
Yeah,
exactly. Seems like a beautiful world.
I am a little suspect of those 3 Drukhari players, though.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Those tryhards.
It's like they missed the memo on keeping it fun.
Keeping it real.
I'm kidding, of course. Some people are, obviously super fans of the faction and stuff. But I'm kind of surprised not to see some of this, like Craftworld Eldari, or even I find these. I don't know. Maybe these Space Marine chapters are not too far off the mark.
Well, yeah. Well, so because this faction with this event was quite small, I was actually able to do just a 1-sentence synopsis of every of the lists, and the lists are actually really good. In fact, if anybody wants to go check it up on BCP, the Disciples of Bellicor list, that is the first one. It's the first list. It's actually really interesting for people if you want to go check it out. It's just a very well-rounded, a bit of everything Bellicor list.
Disciples of Bellicor list. That's we haven't seen that come up. We've seen Bellicor in list.
Yeah,
but
Bellicor's exactly. We've seen Bellicor's in list, but we haven't seen actual Bellicor list. This one has 2 bombs of Bloodletters, and then has 2 small Marcus Slanesh Terminator units, all with combi melters and lightning claws, which I think is really, really quite interesting in that list.
I think just in the balance updates, I think they got bestial. That those units, if they're not using they're going to get even better.
I think points reductions in chapter approved will make Chaos Space Marines. See, this is the thing, yeah. They're very much like
about that Veterans of the Long War.
Yeah, dude. Well, here's the thing.
Or Death of the False Emperor. I'm sorry, Death of the False Emperor. Those things that can improve their plus to hit, or the when it procs is going to be just amazing.
Is it a fair comparison, Dustin, to compare NIDS and Chaos Space Marines? Because they're both factions that have extremely good rules, but not good units to put those rules onto. Well, historically, apart from possibly the last kind of supplement or two, like
it's not that they don't have good units. In the Tyranid case, a lot of their good units are overcosted, but the Tyranids have already had really good stratagems, like really good stratagems. Yeah. So like that part is definitely a good comparison. The stratagems are fantastic. The units to put them on that you want to use with them are harder to justify. Like you need to take 10 Slanesh Terminators that are not cheap, and not even 3 wounds yet. I don't think. No, they're 3 wounds now.
No, they're 2 wounds. Yeah,
they're not. Yeah, they're 2 wounds. Yeah, exactly.
Still 2, oh man,
there's still 2 wounds.
I know.
So
same for their
that's the thing, right? Like these are the things
they hit hard
to take, but their stratagems are really good. So yeah, it's a good comparison. So I definitely feel for them. I get it.
Yeah, it's almost like good strats, good warlord traits, good relics, crap data sheets. Like,
well, we didn't have good warlord traits. Emperor's Children.
That's true. That is very true. You did like Tyranids have the worst warlord traits.
Our warlord traits were absolutely.
Hey, now you got a good one.
We got
a couple good ones.
I'm not complaining, man. Now it's amazing. I am so happy.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're going down the others, the list there.
Yeah, so apologies. Let's run down all the synopsises. So yeah, first up, a well-rounded Battlecore list, then a straight up top tier Drukhari, straight up, just top tier. And Silent King Catan MSU-ish Cron build, a solid double Catan build. For they're the two Cron lists. A straight up best in faction Tau list, Farsight Tau list. It's just like the best Tau list you can build at the moment. This gentleman's playing it, or lady. Triple Redemptor Guilliman Ultras, which I actually don't mind with the redeploy. I think and the thing makes them actually not too bad. Double Telemon Shadowkeeper Custodes, another well-rounded Drukhari, but using real space raiders instead of the more conventional triple patrol. A heavy MSU Orcs with 3 rocket trucks and Gazkul, which I loved. I actually really like that list.
Okay.
Yeah, spicy. And then a 5 Dread Knight, 20 Interceptor Grey Knight build. So literally you could see this in any super major in the world. And then rounding it all out, the last list was a 20 Scarab Occult Cult of Time T-Sons list. None of
these
those
lists are jacked.
They're good. It's
all right,
strong.
So maybe the Drukhari guys are the fluffy players.
At the end of these 5 rounds, these players are going to be beat to death.
These are good lists. Like this meta, like sometimes we look at smaller events and the meta is just kind of hard to understand. You're like, these guys are savages. Like, wow. So brutal. We had some. So one of the gentlemen in the chat, William, I spoke of before. He's in attendance at this event. He's saying the Orc list is only playing 3 buggies. Yep, correct. Three of the rocket trucks. And one Marine player is playing Raven Guard Successors, which is a bit odd over there. Apparently that's probably an off meta choice. And our local top player is the T-Sons player. That's interesting. That's very interesting. What do you guys think?
Look at these are brutal. I think it's kind of fun to see that you can tell. You probably know these guys know each other.
Yeah,
they're just going run through an absolute gauntlet of things. But I wanted you to run down the list because I wanted to comment on the demon with the Disciples of Bellicor. The Bloodletter bomb concept is incredibly powerful and works better. Obviously against when you kind of have a better idea of what you're going to be facing up against.
Agreed. When you know the meta, like if you know Bloodletters are good, well, they're just phenomenal. As soon as they're never okay. They're either never take them or holy crap, they're incredible. They're bonkers.
Yeah.
And I really like that.
It looks like there's an opportunity for them to shine here, unless he's run up against the Grey Knights, which are going to be that Grey Knight
coming back, baby.
Only thing is, if the Grey Knights kill him, you can respawn the Bloodletters. But you can use that to bottom out your opponent's CP also.
That matchup isn't as bad as people think because that strat to just bring stuff back, that's a big deal. So it's 2 CP, like a full unit. No
so
cost.
one thing that's
fair enough.
One thing I'm starting to see, I don't know if this has always been a case for the GK list. They're starting to put in that 4+ Overwatch aura. That's a thing, yeah?
That's a thing. It's not an aura though, is it?
I can't remember if it's an aura or if you pick a thing and it happens, but I know they got a 4+
you pick a thing
Overwatch.
And it happens, yeah.
Yeah, I know they got a 4+ Overwatch opportunity. That all of a sudden is just, I think it's just going to get better now, especially with some of the things on the rise. Because like Witches went up and Succubuses went up, Cult of Strife might be on the decline, so Overwatch becomes another nice little opportunity there. And that's all. It came up because I'm like, well, Grey Knights are probably just going to Overwatch those guys to death. Even just 5 Stormbolters will take off like a third of that on the Overwatch of the 20 Bloodletters. But it's a much more nuanced matchup than people could otherwise believe. And the funny thing is the Grey Knights probably don't get to take their auto 15 secondary, which is interesting.
Oh, because it denies. Okay, well, let's pick a winner in this absolute gauntlet, Iron Man, this crucible.
Yeah. This is actually got a lot of choices. This one, this is good. I like this a lot.
Yeah. The only thing I will note is that there was about 4 lists that were formatted pretty. You know when some people format. It's obvious. Maybe some people aren't familiar with uploading to BCP. They format and it just gets clumped into just a brick of text. So they're the only list that I'm gonna break down. Like the Raven Guard list was one of those. I wasn't able to break that down because I just ain't got that kind of time. Just like
I don't think the Raven Guard list would have made it on our picks for if we're just picking out of all this.
You're a savage. I don't disagree. 20 Scarab Occult is hard to go by now that we know that that's possibly the top player, but I'm instead going to go for one of the Drukhari players. I'll go for any of the Drukhari players to get a podium or possibly a first place.
Oh wow, just like one of 3 guys.
I'm just gonna pick the top faction.
Just like all top 3 faction that have the most people there playing it. Yeah, that's
way to go out on a limb.
It's my breakdown, all right. It's my breakdown.
Yeah, way to go out on a limb.
All right, what do you guys think?
What's your limb? What's your limb, Paul?
Well, I mean, I feel like I have to pick the Tau player now just to feel like I've got some guts.
Ooh, that's actually a good call. Well done. Yeah, Dustin.
See, I don't know these players. I don't know how they play, and I don't know their meta. But I really like 20 Scarab Occult.
Yeah,
I really like.
You called
that.
me weak. You know he's the top player over there.
That's the other thing, because I know he's the top player. I'm not going to pick him because I know he's the top player. So because of that, I'm going to go with the Grey Knights instead.
There you go.
Fair. That's fair. That's it. I love that matchup as well. By the way, I will like Paul and I will watch and commentate Grey Knights versus T-Suns all day. It's just fun.
Y'all's picks way more probably accurate. Mine way more gutsy.
It's true.
I was gonna go with Bellacore. That was a Bellacore to kind of match you on the Tau, but when Adam picked all the Drukhari in the tournament, I can't really.
I'll pick the first one I said because I read the first one. It's just straight up like.
Let's go to an ad after this, guys.
Drukhari. All right, going to our last event.
Well, before we do that, let's run a quick ad from our sponsor, Frontline Gaming, and then we'll come back and talk about this last event. And also, hey, look, if you're new here, we have a segment that we do at the end of the show called the FICO Repeater. We're going to run down a list of topics. We give ourselves 2 minutes per topic, and you never know what we're going to talk about. So you want to hang out the whole way. So stay tuned right after this ad.
That's the best part of the show.
At Frontline Gaming, we make the best tabletop gaming mats in the universe. Our mats are durable, rollable, foldable, wipeable, and storable. Oh, and they look damn great, too. Join the thousands of tournament regulars and garage gamers who use our mats to bring their gaming surfaces to life. To ensure quality, Frontline Gaming mats are custom made one at a time, printed with high quality ink. Our immersive designs stay crisp and are available in a wide range of styles and sizes. So whether you're playing a war game or a skirmish game, whether you're fighting over an alien tundra, fantastical forest, or real world setting, there's a great looking battlefield for you. Our gaming mats are printed on extremely durable neoprene backing, so they won't slide around the table. And they're thick enough to stay flat, protecting what's underneath and allowing for slight uneven surfaces. We know from experience that an easily portable gaming surface is just better. Every mat comes with a sturdy nylon zip-up bag for storage and transportation. Whether your next battle is in your home or at the local game store, you'll be able to unroll your FLG mat and get gaming right away. Our products are all made and tested by passionate gamers at Frontline Gaming HQ right here in the USA. It's time to take your battlefield to a new level. Frontline Gaming, champions of tabletop.
We're back.
Hello and welcome back. Thanks for checking out that work from our sponsors. Don't forget, hey, there are plenty of shows here on the Frontline Gaming Network. And if you go and you click like and give us a 5-star review or whatever, that is one way that people will find out that there's all these other shows here on the FLGN, and they can listen to them as well. And thank you all for hanging out with us live and the folks that listen after the fact. We're going to jump. Now we're going from China to the Netherlands and talk about the Feast of Blades WTC singles.
I do want to talk to
Netherlands.
I do want to talk to William in the chat for 1 sec. He's just thanked me for one of the other shows that I'm on, and literally, you are the reason I did that show to produce content for people like you to help you guys keep up to date. So that's thank you so much, man. That's one of the best compliments I've ever had. Appreciate it.
And thanks for giving us all the info on the tournament we were just talking about. You know, it's so cool when folks from the area are listening and then give us basically give us some lines. They script the show for us. So
it makes our job a lot easier. Like we can't do all the work, right? We got to get some kind of feedback from you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, Adam does a lot.
Chat.
Nah. Feast of Blades WTC singles from Amersfoort, Netherlands. 28 player, 5 rounder. Quick and dirties here. Imperial Super Faction, 1 Sisters, 1 Custodes, 2 Admech, 7 Grey Knights. It's totaling 11 lists. Next up, Space Marines. Yeah. Space Marines, 1 Dark Angels, 1 Iron Hands, 1 White Scars. Again, really light on the Space Marines, guys. Or this week just seems to be super light on Marines. Total of 3 lists.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it is. Chaos Space Marine, Chaos Super Faction rather. 1 Chaos Soup, 0 Chaos Space Marines rather. 6 T-Suns and 0 Death Guard. First
Oh my
first
god!
donut Death Guard has got that I can remember since the show started. Outrageous.
There's more hive mind than there's Death Guard.
Yeah.
He definitely defected to the Thousand Suns or the Grey Knights. That's
spot on.
Oh yeah, that's definitely
only way to describe it.
Xeno Super Faction is a single Cron. No orcs. No Tau, whatever. But no orcs. Crazy. The Hive Mind is 1 mixed Hive Mind. And
Wait
then
a second. Wait. Stop the press.
Wait. What?
There's 1 Hive Mind and no Death Guard? What is
Yes,
happening?
I know.
That's right.
I know. I was going through this. I'm like, is it just going to be like 4 Tau or something? Like, there's no Space Marines, there's no orcs, there's just like 4 Tau and no Death Guard. And he was like, my brain died. But yeah, Eldaria Super Faction, 4 Drakari and 1 Asurani. The faction breakdown considers thus 7 Grey Knights, 6 T-Suns and 4 Drakari. And Adam's hot take. Holy crap, dust off your Colexus or 12. Holy crap. My God, boys, what do you make of this?
Strong. I mean, the Grey Knights, I think, are on the rise. And again, we don't know if they're using the balance update or not. But some of these factions that were quite literally on the cusp of greatness, sweeping certain events, are now, I think, going to have a a clean line to the finish line here.
Yeah, dude. Legit, people are saying that if of all the factions that may just get an absolute cannon shot into the sun from this, it's Grey Knights. Grey Knights might just be the best faction in the game come the next month or two. It's actually going to be really awesome to see what happens in Austin the next couple of weeks. The next couple of big events coming up are really going to define a lot of what we see running into the end of the season. But the 7 Grey Knights, 6 T-Suns. So if you were playing like...
they're playing each other.
Yeah, well, of course.
Multiple times.
Yeah, multiple times. But if you were not playing either of those factions, you were just like doing what Paul tells people to do. Crack open your book, all the stupid menial like warlord traits and relics that give you like -1 to and perils on double and stuff. You're all of a sudden like, this is premium goodness now. I'll take 5. I'll take 5, please. I'll pay 6 CP for all this random crap I never looked at before. So yeah, great point.
There's a lot of tricks you can do against the Psyker stuff. I don't know if that's the standard meta that's over there, that people are ready for this, or if it's just kind of everybody showing up and like, oh, apparently I'm playing nothing but Psychers.
I will say we've had 2 or 3 big events coming out of Scandinavia, and Grey Knights have taken most of them. So it just looks like that's maybe people are taking T-Suns to counter all the Chaos players are just like, well, I've got to play T-Suns to have a chance into Grey Knights, and so here we go.
To give credit where credit's due, I think a couple of episodes ago where we were calling who was going to win that tournament that we were talking about, I think you got it right, Adam.
Did I? The gentleman with the Storm Raven. He won the 3-dayer over there. That guy was a champion. Grey Knight
Storm Raven's another thing. Now look, we don't have every one of these Grey Knight lists, but I've seen a Storm Raven in multiple Grey Knight lists.
Yeah.
Just because, and let me tell you why, or at least what I believe is the case, is that the Dark Lances, the 2 or 3 Dark Lances we're seeing in Drukhari list, just aren't getting it done. And the fact that Sisters don't make it all the way to the final rounds, at least what we've seen mostly. The Storm Raven is carrying the day. There just isn't enough firepower on the table that can take it down. So these things that looks like, you start like, do I really want to spend 300 points on this flying fist, essentially?
Yep.
And historically, people have said, no, I don't. But when it essentially becomes immortal,
yes, yep,
and you're playing with it on round 5, turn 5 of the game, then it's a lot more appealing.
Well, so I know for a fact, I was informed by some gentleman over in Scandinavia that gentleman who won that, I think it was a 5 or 6 rounder with it was over 100 players with that Storm Raven, took it out of his list immediately because he's like, this thing will be good for like
again.
One event. Now everyone knows it's coming, and I'm like, oh, maybe not. But it's a kind of thing that you'll see pop up every month or so. You'll see people just be like, well, a Storm Raven's just
nobody's teching for a single Storm Raven.
Well, a single Storm Raven with an invulnerable save that can fly in from reserve, that can get a bunch of rerolls from different bits and pieces that it couldn't get. No other real flyer can get many rerolls to hit. So it does. It has a little bit of play. If your meta's right for it, give it a crack. You can play a couple of practice games. It might be
couple
perfect.
things. I do think that kill rigs are going to become more popular. I don't
do.
think that
I do,
3 kill
yeah.
rigs is the way to go. I think that once you
No.
start playing, once you start putting actual terrain on the table, and then the kill rigs with their footprint on the table, you're going to find 1 or 2 is
One
where
or
it's
two.
at.
Yeah.
And when they start becoming offensive to people, we'll see more of those lance weaponries and last cannons and
Come
stuff
back.
make their way
Well,
back into.
So it's an interesting polarity shift for the Drukhari lists. So we when Drukhari first came out, we saw 7 or 8 freaking raiders. That's now gone down to 3, 4, or 5, and I wouldn't be surprised if that goes down to 1 or 2 now. And so those Dark Lances are gone, but they're being replaced by possibly Heat Lance Talos. Now I've got to tell you, the Heat Lance Talos are a lot easier to manage because they don't have the Real Black Heart or Obsidian Rose. They don't move extremely fast and always hit on 3s, where the vehicles did. They hit on 4s base. I think Talos do. They hit on 3s in combat, 4s in shooting, and I think Kronos is the flip side of that. So tell me if I'm wrong, boys. But I find Talos so much easier to negotiate because they've got smaller range as well than the 36, 48, whatever is on the Heat Lance. Oh, sorry, the Dark Lance.
Didn't Ravagers just go down in points?
Ravagers did. So that might be where the Dark Lances reside now. Who knows?
They're going to have
maybe.
To,
what I'm saying is that.
too.
Sorry, Dustin?
Yeah, was that Dustin?
You're going to see Knights come back in too with their new rules. A lot of people are going to be put their Knights back on the table. If you don't have the guns or close combat to start dealing with those big things again, that Storm Raven, I'm sorry, it's going to be outclassed again. But I get why it's brought. I get why it was brought.
Several weeks to play with.
There was a
Storm
window.
Raven.
There was that window. We're calling that the Storm Raven window. It is. It's closing.
Shriek it up.
Closing.
Shriek it up. Yeah.
But KR Quinn in the chat says that so you should be running 2 Ares gunships. Maybe they need to come back.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Custodians have enough problem with scoring primary as it is that I think that Ares is not a good fit for them.
I think probably a little bit of a delusion.
If you could play MSU stuff, if you took Ares gunships maybe in a guard or a scion list, maybe that's a thing. But I'm not willing to go out on a limb and say yay or nay. I need to play that out.
And how many times do they actually fit in the deployment zone too?
That's my biggest issue with the damn thing. You play if scouring is a thing in your meta game, like in your GTs, you just can't take it. It sucks. Or you're paying 3 CP to put in reserve, and that sucks too.
It can't fit in Dawn of War, I don't think.
Oh really? In Dawn, I thought it just fit in Dawn.
I'm pretty sure it just barely doesn't.
Balls. Okay, that sucks. Never mind.
Let's move on to the list.
Top players in attendance here. We have one of the top 20 in attendance from the Scandinavian or the European meta. Nick Vanderhaast, another amazing name. 16th ranked European player. He's playing T-Suns. Coulter Time Battalion. This is, for those who know Liam Hackett, who's been doing really exceptionally well. I think he's on an 18 game win streak with this exact list in Australia. It's got a battalion, Ahriman, Exalted Sork, 4 units of 10 Rubric Marines, 10 Scarab Cult Terminators, 2 units of 5 Spawn, and 2 Rhinos. And this thing is lean, it's mean, it's no fat.
Yeah,
everything's
had me at
hard
2
to
units
kill.
of 5 Spawn.
Yeah. Me too, brother. Me too. It's just like, it just feels good now. But this is a really good list. Really good. What do you guys think?
I'm a big fan of it. I like the Ahriman because it just makes it efficient that way. But the 4 of 10 rubrics, I actually like the bigger rubric squads. It makes your CP more efficient when you're actually putting stuff on them or giving them kind of buffs.
Yeah,
it's a lot. It feels a lot better. You can use them a lot better, especially with 2 Rhinos that will put the 2 of the units in. So you can only have 2 at the time, or even 1 out, maybe Deep Strike 1 or whatever you need to do. It means you can keep them alive a lot easier. You're making really good use of your CP and your buffs.
And this thing actually leapfrogs quite well. I've heard Liam on a couple of other podcasts talking about how well he's able to actually move this army quite quickly, despite it being conventionally slow. You have two units. He actually gets his stuff killed. He'll purposely get his stuff killed so he can Cult of Time, res 2 models, and get a big slingshot.
Moving ahead, putting them, placing them within coherency, but further.
And I don't believe I've got it wrong, guys. You can't res in front of each other, but you can res 1 from 2 different units. He's 1 in front here. He's 1 in front here. These both guys got an extra 3.5 inches of move. All of a sudden, I'm on all these objectives turn 1, putting up banners everywhere. Primary is now mine. It's interesting. One of the things I find really super interesting about T-Suns is how good rubrics are for their points and how dismal Plague Marines are in exactly the same kind of concept. Both got 2 wounds, both got durability increasing buffs, and yet rubrics feel utterly incredible. They feel really good on just about every level, except they can't punch themselves out of combat very well. Whereas Plague Marines just feel awful. Is that simply because Plague Marines just have an awful data slate that confines them to not being homogeneous?
Plague Marines only compete in one phase. You have to get them super close, and they're really the best in combat when you burn CP on them. Like they don't do anything by themselves as well.
Yeah. I mean, but for like sitting and holding him,
points.
They do cost a lot of points. And the fact that you can't just be like, here's my 2 flails, 3, here's my 5 axe build, here's my whatever. I think that's the thing that holds them back in people's minds. Like, you conceptualize the value of them, and you're just like, they're only going to be good for one thing, or they're going to be crap at everything. And that people just don't like that. Onto the one fun list that I liked. I picked this list out just for, again, I picked out Mr. Thunderstone's list because his name had Thunderstone in it. And I picked this list out because his team name is Destiny Potato, and I thought it was hilarious.
I wonder if that translates differently. Is that...
I hope it doesn't. I hope this guy's just like, Potato of Destiny, and they bring one in to the event with him, and they put a little plea.
Thunderstone is universal, Paul.
No, Destiny Potato is what I'm saying. I wonder...
All right, but this gentleman his name's Christian Gaillard. He's playing White Scars. This is just a beautiful White Scars list. A single Vanguard as well, which I think is really exciting. 2 company veterans in the no force org slot. Kasara Khan, a Promos chappie on a bike.
Khan, really?
Yeah, dude. 3 units of 5 Blade Guard veterans for Kasara to kind of run with, because he's on foot. They'll be on foot, and he'll kind of be bubbled up by 15 White Scars Blade Guard, which is sexy. 2 units of 10 Vanguard vets. 2 units of devs with multi-melters in a Rhino, and 2 land speed of Storms. It's just nice, cut and dry, no fat goodness.
I love the Kasara Khan in this. The +1 to wound could make it makes them a lot better too. Even the vets, I'm assuming they have lightning claws, right? But it means everything else. Yeah. They have
in fact, I think he has some fists in there. I seem to remember one of them being a weird split.
This seemed like a themey list to me. He's probably got a mix of weapons.
Because giving a fist in there with the Kasara Khan makes Kasara Khan very worthwhile. To make them a little more efficient on the wounding as well, against bigger things at least.
Cool. Because what does he give him? He gives him the usual captain's buff. What's his other buff?
Whenever something charges, I think within 6 inches of him or something, they get +1 to wound.
That's sexy. That's really sexy. Yeah. So that lets all the Blade Guard punch up into. Doesn't matter what toughness you are. That as soon as you hit that strength 5 breakpoint, +1 to wound, you just falls.
That's where it comes in.
Your toughness 11, bruh? Nah. Okay, force.
I don't care, bruh.
Yeah, don't care. I like this list a lot. I think it's just good. I think it's just well-rounded goodness.
2 units of Devastators, multi-melts. Devastators has been making a huge comeback in lots of environments. And so don't count these out. There was a time when you see somebody, you got a Devastator squad, no pod, no nothing or whatever. These sound ridiculous. That's free points for me. You'll never, you might kill one thing or whatever. But now with the mobility, with the other things in the list, being able to buff them even slightly, these things turn into pretty aggressive bestial things. So don't discount them when you see them on the table.
I think they still have the best non-pod Devastators in the game for what White Scars do, because you get out of the Rhino after it moves. Yeah, you just get to sling him around a corner and just ice your opponent's favorite thing. It feels quite nice.
Yeah, and with the Rhino, you put both Devastator squads in there.
Yeah, both inside. You can put you can do a lot of things. That's it, guys. I think we're going to jump into Fugo now.
Oh, so here, this is that segment I was telling you guys about, to where we run down a list of topics. We give ourselves 2 minutes per topic. Once the time is out, we're out. Or we're going to move on to the next topic. It's just that simple. And we don't know what the topics are until we start running down the list. See if we get production to put them on the screen right now so you can do it. I'll go ahead and start when the timer starts. What is the best character in the MCU? Living or dead? Marvel Cinematic Universe, living or dead? Dustin, we'll start with you. Best character.
But don't start with me. I got to think about that. Oh,
I have no pressure.
No pressure at all, because I like a lot of people in the MCU. Like you're talking about.
We got 2 minutes.
I'll just sit here until we get back to Adam. You go while I think of mine for a second.
I have one and then an honorable mention. They're both villains and they're both from X-Men.
Okay.
Magneto, I think, is the best character.
Not in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh, he's not? That's
the problem.
What? X-Men isn't MCU?
It is not MCU. That is still owned by, or at least the films were Fox.
The comic books. The comic books are Marvel.
That is not the cinematic universe. That is the
cinematic
This is where I got confused too, Adam. This is why I'm having a problem.
Comic book starts with C2, right? No, that's fair. Now I've got to think again. Oh, damn.
See? This is my you got to start now, Paul.
Regardless, it's Magneto. Let's move on.
Close. I'll go with the other side of that. Iron Man.
It's fair. That's fair. The old metal guy.
I don't know. I lost the screen. I hope everyone else still has it.
Oh damn! I need to. Really ponder this.
I like Spider-Man.
Let me know when the time's up.
I'm generally a bad guy. I love the bad guys.
I like the bad guys.
Oh, Thanos is actually my homeboy. There's no
Thanos.
Thanos is real.
So yeah. Movie Thanos is so much better than comic book Thanos. They actually did him so well. Actually, yeah, dead set. I'll just go Thanos as well. I think he's amazing in the MCU.
There we go. I can't argue with that. Thanos did such a great performance and
amazing.
Yeah,
it was such a hard thing to write because in the comic books he's in love with death.
Yes,
actually courting death.
Yeah, he's in love with death. How do you explain that in a film at all?
I really think that scene with Gamora is that actually an analogy or analog to death. Oh, we're out. So anyway, here we go. Here's a fun one. What should people do with their excess buggies?
Landfill.
Wow.
No. Okay, look.
Bang.
We're actually like all this stuff happens it's like on cycles, right? Some of that stuff, the game changes one way or another, and so I don't know if you can count them out completely. And that your other orc buddies, they didn't get all those buggies. Share the wealth, spread it around. Let some people borrow your buggies.
Yeah, lend them out, buy them out. I think a cool thing to do is if you haven't built them or if they're unpainted, there's a lot of conversion opportunities. Make some battle wagons out of buggies. Make some trucks out of buggies. Make some all sorts. You go crazy. Make some planes. Make it like the most unique Dakar jet out of a scrap jet. There's a lot of opportunities there.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, terrain is game objectives. Yeah, that'd be a
objectives.
Adam was close. This is what you should do. This is what you should do with your buggies. Okay, so. When you build the buggies, you don't put the orc bodies on them. You're actually going to build them a little bit, mostly the same.
It's the GSC answer, isn't it? I smell it. I can smell it already.
Ridge runners. You're going to turn them into ridge runners. That's it.
Just put some guns, right there on the top.
Just put some guns right there. You can put. They can have mortars. They can have mining lasers, man. These are conversions too. You may as well get them ready.
I would like to see wolf quads that are just a fuselage of the scrapjet. With just a GSC boy.
That would actually look pretty cool.
What was it? Was it Dr. Love, whatever? He drops on the atom bomb out of the plane.
Strangelove.
Dr. Strangelove. And you just have a GSC acolyte just riding the fuselage into battle, like waving a cowboy hat.
I am doing that. That is a great idea.
I
am absolutely. Yeah. I have 45 bikes already, but I'm still making one of these.
Oh my god!
Y'all are spot on with the orc conversion things. These orcs can be anythings. As far as like with a little bit of kit bashing and clever use of some hobby tools.
So
absolutely, the conversion's the best idea.
I considered when I first started my cadings, I considered doing Steel Legion instead. I'd love to do Steel Legion who've repurposed orc machinery. That would be cool.
Here's the next topic. How do you like your eggs? Adam, we'll start with you.
Ooh, scrambled or poached, depending on the day, depending on what I'm feeling.
Poached. That's the one where you like put it in the pot with the vinegar.
That's the ridiculously hard one to do.
Yeah, it's the hard one to do. Hence, that's the one I get when I'm out not doing it myself, and I do scrambled for myself usually. Yep. But yeah, so that's the one where you crack the egg into like swirling water with a little bit of vinegar in it, and if they do it really well, it's the bestest. Sorry, I'm actually going to delete that. Whatever the egg is in ramen, the 34-degree egg, that's like kind of gooey still. But because it's in soup, it's incredible. That's my pick.
It's basically scrambled. It's just cooked with different stuff. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
You mean a whole egg? The one that's
oh, you mean that one? Oh,
yeah.
Where it's kind of hard boiled on the outside, but more custardy. The yolk is more custardy or something.
Yeah, exactly right. It's like 30. They call it like 34-degree eggs or something because they're like sous vide in a water bath.
I've never heard that. I don't know. But I also
that's my favorite.
I trust you, so
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Your turn.
Dustin, what you got?
I have the two different ones. The same thing with Adam. So when I go out, it's Eggs Benedict every time. So I kind of poach basically, but I just love Eggs Benedict. I will never try to make it myself. I can't eat it too much because it'll kill me, but I love it. But if I'm at home, it's just easy over.
Yep.
Basic.
Put some salt and dill on it. Done.
Dill, nice.
Scrambled well with cheese for me. But I like some places they put the cheese on after. They scramble the eggs, and I don't like that. I like it. I like the cheese mixed in with when you're whisking up the eggs.
What are we talking? Like a pepper jack or a cheddar or?
I'm a sharp cheddar man. So
really,
Yeah.
I like the sharp cheddar in there.
Haven't you ever seen his haircut? Like sharp.
A little of salt and pepper, scrambled over medium low heat, not low heat, and then you get a little scrambled well. Delicious.
Okay.
Love it.
Oh, here we go. Predictions for the Gene Stealer cult and Custodes power. So look, the Custodes are already doing okay. But we believe, or we know there's some books coming down the pipe for them. We saw the preview and the Warhammer 40,000 preview with the new character models and stuff. What do we think it's going to do to affect the power level of the Codex?
Ooh,
go ahead, Adam.
Okay, I'll do Custodes, and we'll do Dustin can do GSC, and then we'll swoopity swap it. Custodes, I don't see how they get much better than they are now. They would need such a good secondary. If they got a stubborn Defiance secondary, they'd be as good as Dark Angels, pretty much, because the Dark Angels, they play a very similar thing, which still isn't like A+ S tier. So I think they're going to stay about the same, and I'm unfortunately think there are opportunities for them to get worse, which I really hope isn't the case. Because right now they have so many levers and layers of rules, but a lot of their metrics are built upon 8th edition stuff. And like if they just stay the same but lose Stooping Dive and Tanglefoot, it's just a worse book. And so I think they're staying the same or slightly worse, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dustin, I know you're very vested in.
Am I very vested?
Yeah, what you think about the Gene Stealer cult?
So the Gene Stealer cult is it's an interesting position for them because I'm going to tempt fate here for a second and say they can't get much worse than they currently are. So I'm tempting fate by saying it, but I'm going to say that. But I will also say they're
doomed the whole faction now.
I've doomed the whole faction. I'm sorry, guys. It's my fault. You can blame me for this. But they're not going to go to like S tier or anything. They will not be able to do that. GSC is a very hard army to balance. They're either going to be really bad or they're going to be overly powerful if you know how to use them. They're not an easy faction to use. I would probably put them when they come out probably between B and A, but the faction experts will be like top contenders with it. Like we'll get there.
It's almost like okay.
I only got 11 seconds. I'm going to predict that the stop sign becomes the most powerful weapon in the universe. It will be what ends the Emperor and launches us into a new age of man.
They're going to open it up. Emperor's going to be there with a stop sign in his chest.
But don't worry, Hive Mind fans, we're talking about, here we go, are the Hive Guard too good?
Oh, you got to do me last. I know the answer. You go ahead.
I want to say yes with a
good.
I want to say yes. Good? I want to say yes with a but. The but being that I think if they kept the same rules and when new Codex comes in, I think they probably level out because I think they've just got one more buff than they should. Either they don't get to double shoot, which I think is going to go. I think they won't get to double shoot in the new Codex, which is the biggest reason I think they're going to be fine and balanced because nobody gets to double shoot anymore. So why the bloody hell would you let one of the best things in the game double shoot? So I think they're too good right now, but I don't think it's going to last forever.
Go ahead, Paul.
Oh, well, no. Are they too good? I don't think they're too good. I think that they're a shining star right now. I think that they just look better than they actually are because they're not supported by some other things. So I don't think they're too good. I think that they are something that the players are almost necessitated to lean on at this point in time, which makes them seem like they're punching well above their weight. I think it's a perception thing. I don't think they're too good. I want to see them better.
Do I see them better? Dustin?
Okay. Paul had it perfect until that last sentence he said there. Because I would love to see them better too, but he was right on the money until he said he wants to see them better. It's exactly what it is though, because we haven't had something this good in so long, and they are the best shooting we have in the Codex right now. Adam's also right. When we do get our Codex, they're going to lose double shoot. I can almost guarantee it. I cannot see them keeping double shoot with all the shit they have right now. And they're really, really good, but there are so many ways to shut them down. They are not mobile. You have to put a lot of buffs in. People are taking like 600-700 points to buff these guys up. Like that's ridiculous. That's half your army in this one shooting unit. Yeah, it's good, but it can kill 2 things in a turn at best. So half your army. Yeah, and like I said, they can be shut down. They could die to flyers. They're not too powerful. They're scary and a really good alpha strike. No, they are not too good.
Nice.
There you go.
Fair.
That's our show, folks. We've gone through everything. We've run through some tournaments. We've run through our rapid fire topics. I've had a great time interacting with the chat. I've had a great time interacting with you, gentlemen. I want to thank y'all for coming. Thank everybody for leaving the comments and everything they do and talking to us. I want to thank production. Rich is back there. I'm pointing like he's outside the house right now, but he's somewhere.
We're all pointing. Oh, there we go.
Flipping all the switches. We could not do it without
Brady
him.
bunching this crap.
Yeah. We do this every week. If your event was not talked about this week, but you got some events coming up in the future, make sure you let us know on all our social medias. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram.
Mm.
You can write into the, hit us up in the show.
Who
Frontline
wants
Gaming.
who wants the hand of destiny placed upon them? Lovely Scott LaFontaine messaged in prior to was it SoCal?
SoCal, yeah.
With his demon list, and like I'm not sure if the gentleman has come that close to do it to smash in a super major before, but he just messaged in and say, "Oh, it'd be lovely if you guys could do my list." We did his list. He made the top 8. Just put
With
it out
demons. No, we're not
With
talking about
freaking
Drukari or Admech or whatever.
mono demons into the freebooters meta. Like, it's
You
just
have been blessed, my child.
Just hand of destiny.
Talk about you on the show, and maybe the 6s fall your way somewhere out there in the universe. We can't prove it didn't happen.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure. We will be back next week. Don't forget to come back and check us out. Subscribe if you have not already, and we'll see y'all soon.
Love yous.
Yep.